At the edge of the known world lay Vaelwood, a forest whispered about in hushed tones. Farmers warned their children never to linger there, for those who entered either returned changed or never returned at all. Lanterns were said to drift without hands, and voices sometimes called names that belonged to no living family. But the forest itself carried an ancient hunger, not for soil or water, but for a story to keep alive. Into this mystery came Mira, a young woman shaped by both laughter and grief. After losing her mother, sorrow weighed on her like a second winter, and the city's promises rang hollow. Following rumors of healing, she arrived at Vaelwood's border. At first, she lingered cautiously, leaving offerings, daisies, ribbon, forgotten poems. The forest responded subtly, easing her sleep, softening her ache, even gifting her a strange silver coin from the river. On the 7th morning, she stepped inside, and the world shifted. Paths brightened into corridors of light, animals bowed as if in kinship, and at the clearing's heart she found an ancient tree carved with living language. A smooth moonstone pulsed beneath it, and through its hum, Vaelwood spoke, not in words, but in impressions that filled her chest. The forest remembered her mother planting a sapling long ago, and it offered Mira a bargain. It would teach her to listen to the living past if she gave it her story in return. So began Mira's schooling. She learned the lexicons of moss and mushrooms, the patience of beetles, the distance of owls, and the repetition of brooks. In exchange, she read aloud her poems and songs. The forest grew softer, and even the nearby town sensed the change. Hunters laid down bows, and children once afraid now played beneath the branches. But Vaelwood tested her. One twilight, she discovered a black pool that revealed visions of both her life and others' lives. It tempted her with the chance to forget grief, to trade memory for certainty. Instead, she gave it her mother's ribbon, choosing truth over escape. The pool returned a forgotten memory of joy, a small grace, yet one that stitched her sorrow without erasing it. Over time, Mira became woven into the forest's fabric. She healed creatures, wrapped wildflower strings around newborns' wrists, and learned remedies that turned fevers aside. Her bond with Vaelwood deepened, but the town soon threatened the harmony. Its leaders planned a road to cut through the forest, promising trade, a doctor, and schools. Machines arrived, iron teeth biting into sacred trunks, and the old oak fell with a silence that scarred the earth. Vaelwood resisted not with violence, but with patience sharpened into resistance. Roots cracked new tracks, fog confused surveyors, and tools rusted overnight. The town grew divided. Some saw only profit, others sang with Mira in the groves. She confronted the foreman, who argued that his people's suffering demanded progress. Mira countered with the forest's remedies and truths. Though they ended with tea and truce, the machines pressed on. Winter delivered the turning point. Roads failed under heavy storms, and sickness swept the town before the promised doctor arrived. Desperate, villagers turned to Mira, who opened her forest ledger. Poultices of yarrow, teas of willow and mint, lavender to soothe sleep. Lives were saved, and the town remembered the worth of knowledge not written in ledgers. By spring, the investors withdrew, and the road project collapsed. The humbled foreman touched the moss of the fallen oak, quietly apologizing, later becoming a carpenter who honored wood instead of conquering it. A schoolhouse was built overlooking both town and forest, symbolizing coexistence. Vaelwood, meanwhile, held Mira's story in its rings. Trees began speaking more plainly. Saplings formed paths toward the school, Birds carried seeds to homes, and children grew up learning both reading and root knowledge. Mira aged into silver hair and read her forest book aloud beneath the moonstone tree. When she died, her book was sealed within its trunk, and wildflowers marked her resting place. Generations passed. The memory of the nearly built road became a lesson, etched into the town's charter. Carpenters built bridges around trees, rather than through them, and Vaelwood's wild heart remained intact, still mysterious, still whispering. Children at the forest's edge felt coins in the dirt, heard names hummed into their hearts, and discovered that stories once begun always ask to be continued. And so the forest waits, patient and alive, guarding Mira's gift. A story rooted in grief, love, and resilience, ready to breathe itself into the next soul who dares to listen. The beginning is preserved, the ending remains open, and both are alive in Vaelwood's rings.